Welcome to Fun and Fundraising, everybody. The podcast where we talk with people behind top nonprofit galas and signature fundraising events to showcase how they positively transform their communities. I'm your host, Rob Giardinelli, and today I am really excited to have my friend Stephanie Schiller on as a guest. So Stephanie owns this company called Vogue Vignette, and I will tell you, in all the years that I've gone to events, her and her team really create these things. I've got probably 5 or 6 of them throughout my home hung up of wonderful sketches that her and her team create of people at various events. They can be for profit, but I run into her primarily at nonprofit events to really create these wonderful, memorable keepsakes for your guests. Because one of the things nonprofits, struggle with events is, how do you create that feeling to get them to come back? And I can't think of a better way to do that than art that is flattering to all the guests, that is, created, that it's not a caricature, but it's an embodiment of who they are as a being. And that's why I had to have Stephanie on as a guest to talk about her wonderful services and her wonderful team. So with that, Stephanie, welcome. We're so excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Rob. I'm so excited to be here.
So tell us a little bit about Vogue Vignette.
For sure. So Vogue Vignette is an experiential company based here in Austin, Texas. We are known for our signature mix of art, fashion, and celebration. So we travel to events all across the country, and we transform guests into high fashion works of art live that they get to take home. It has been, I founded Vogue Vignette in 2017, and it has been a wild, rapidly moving ride ever since. So we have a team of 7 artists now that we work with. It used to just be me, and everybody has their own creative style that they illustrate in, but the mission for everybody is we are there to capture the spirit and style of guests so they feel seen, so that they feel like they are able to look at that illustration and be like, yeah, that's who I am. I want to be that person today. And
And
that's
I
what we do.
love that. And I've had the good fortune of being sketched by you many times over the years. And it's funny because you've sketched me in black tie, you've sketched me in not black tie, and
Yeah.
you capture different aspects of my personality. And that's what I love about what you do with art is you really do see people well-rounded. And I know some other individuals who have been sketched by you multiple times, and they say the same thing, that, you capture different things about a person based on what they're wearing, maybe what the lighting's going to be, if it's daytime or nighttime. I think it's all just amazing. So talk a little bit about, you said you founded it in 2017, but what inspired you to create this?
Oh man, I mean, that is like a multiple layered question that could go for me. Just like, I have been a creative entrepreneur for since 2010. I mean, really since before then. I was an illustrator and I did a lot of commissions, did a lot of illustrative branding for clients. But I knew that around like 2015, 2016, something, within me needed to change in terms of the business that I made. I met some business mentors and did Artist Inc. here in Austin. And the whole idea with those two meetings and gatherings was like really being able to take an artist and help them change their mindset so they could become a better business owner. And I think for me, that was a big thing of like, I could make some really good artwork that I'm super proud of, but man, it was really hard making money. That was not at the forefront of my mind. At the forefront of my mind was like, I want to make something that's really beautiful for my client. And, they kind of helped me switch that mindset so that I was a little bit more intentional about, okay, you want to be an artist, but what do you want to do? And so we really I went through the whole idea of like, okay, I know I love this style of artwork. I know that this thing that I have done in the past over, at that point, like very, off and on for a few years was doing the live sketching for events. And once I started talking to my business mentors, they were like, girl, they're 2 very sweet, very old white men. They were like, we get this thing. We get this thing that you want to do. Like, if you can make us understand what you want to do, then like, lean into this because it's like we can see this as being a thriving business. So they really helped me like focus in on my creative vision for what I wanted to do in like building Vogue Vignette into what it is now. Really something that, you know, the way that I am, I'm very personable with people. Like I get that from my mama and my grandma or my nana. It's important for me to like be able to share these experiences with people and have them feel like seen and like heard and celebrated. And so it made sense to kind of take all of those aspects of who I am and to merge it with the artwork that I make and be able to take that live to events. And it really, it for me, it feels like being able to make an impact on people's day. And like, I think, you know, forever ago, I was working on What Color is Your Parachute, like prior to starting Vogue Vignette. I'm not sure if you've read that book.
I've
I
heard of
was
it, but
out
I
of that
haven't read
book.
it. No. So please
Oh, it's
share some about it.
fantastic. I've read all the self-help books. Um, and that one was really good because it made me like put all of the different aspects of who I am, what I want to see in the world, and like your mission. And my mission was like, you know, very abstract, but like I want to heal the human heart. Like that was through artwork. And so for me, being able to take an illustration and show someone like this is what I see in you. Um, it was like like because I love doing that in studio, but you don't get to see like the immediate like you know it's an immediate
Yeah.
gratification thing for an artist is like being able to show someone like this is the best version. I see this person in you, and I hope you see this person in you as well. And that was really like getting into the live events and like really moving forward and making connections with people. That was one of the biggest, you know, inspirations for me is like, I love that on my own. I love that our artists get to share that with other people. And I love that people get to like have something very tangible to take home as a reminder of that experience with the artist, as that experience of like seeing who they are. But that really was one of the biggest passions and inspirations and really taking the artwork that I was making out into the public and really giving people the opportunity to see it happening like live and then to get to like take that home and have not just the tangible piece of paper, a piece of work of art, but like have an experience that was involved with that. And that's been a huge part of everything for me and why I love Vogue Vignette and what we do.
So, you know, you mentioned you love what you do and that you love art. And, you know, I'm always interested, especially with creative professionals, as to how they get from A to B. So talk a little bit about where your passion for art initially came from, you know,
For
because I always
sure.
like love hearing those journeys with artists.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely came from my family. Like my grandmother was a very creative woman. She was constantly on her sewing machine making either clothes or she would participate in this annual market at her church. And so, you know, all of those Barbie cake toppers that you've seen with like the big, you know, dresses that look like a quinceañera dress. She would sew those. So I always saw her sewing. She would make confetti eggs every single year. Like she was always working with her hands and doing something that was creative. I would see my mom doodling all the time when she was talking for hours on the phone with somebody. And my dad, I don't think he would call himself an artist, but he was always sketching. He was always creating something with his hands. He painted murals in our garage, which, you know, essentially was like his man cave. Um, so I always saw artwork being made, but I never really called it artwork because that's not what they called it. It was just the thing that they did, like to like express themselves. Um, so they definitely saw that desire in me to do the same and they nurtured it so much. I mean, they were constantly taking me to craft stores to buy new supplies that I was interested in trying out. So they really invested and nurtured that desire in me from a really young age. I was also the third child, so I think they were just really trying to like keep me busy. They had two other and older kids and then a younger kid, so they were like, "Do this," and it just like has blossomed into what it is now.
That is so cool. And, you know, I love that, you know, you took, you know, kind of it sounds like it was really a thing for your mom, and sounds like it was a little bit more of a hobby for your dad. I guess,
Hmm.
if we were to kind of say those things. And, between that and the business mentorships that you've had, you've created this great thing with Vogue Vignettes. And, you had mentioned earlier you have a team of 7. So I want to understand, because it's, you know, artists are individual in expressing their point of view. So I want to understand how you go about procuring the artist on your team who can help carry out the vision, but at the same time, you know, be able to express their own creativity.
For sure. Yeah. So we get our artists from a number of different places. Some of them have been students of mine. So I used to teach fashion illustration I would give workshops, guest lectures at UNT, UT, I taught at ACC. So some of them are students from ACC and UNT. Others are, folks who have reached out directly who are like, I'm a fashion illustrator. I love what you're doing. I would love to join your team. So we have a couple of those. Two of them are husband and wife duo, Tanya and Dave, and they're based in San Antonio. And they have a background in caricature illustration style. So I got referred to them from Ryan Fink, I think is his name, from San Antonio. And he was like, look, if you're looking for somebody, these two are amazing and they're rocking, and they are like such a wonderful part of our team. So it really is from a smattering of different places. And, it's been exciting because we have been receiving people who are kind and like good-hearted and like definitely salt of the earth people. And I'm very fortunate that we have like pulled in that kind of energy and that kind of vibe. Everybody, again, they do have their own style. One thing that I've done with some of the artists, if they need it, is like, because I have a background in illustration to teaching, is I give them tips and tips on how to like, you know, do what they're doing a little bit better, speed up their artwork. Because, when we are at events, like it's all about speed. It's all
Yeah.
about like, the first question everybody asks is like, well, how many people can you do? So really like taking some of the tips and the advice that I have learned over my, almost 7 years as the owner of Vogue Vignette, like to give that to them so that it's like I want all of them to feel like they are comfortable and confident in what they're doing and feel like they're putting their best foot and their best artwork out there.
Well, I'm glad that you brought the comfort aspect of it, because that's one of the things I think makes you and your team so special is you make every single guest, and I see it, because I'll observe if I'm not getting a sketch that time I'm there. I see you all there, or if I'm in line, or if I'm actually talking. You and your team engage your subjects so that they feel really comfortable. And I think doing that, they kind of let their guards down. You
Mhm.
allow them to be their real selves, and you can
Yeah.
put that on paper for them.
Thank
And,
you. That's all I want.
absolutely. But I mean, it's absolutely true, because it's, one of the things that I often get, going to events a lot, is how do you talk to so many different types of people? And I often think that for many years, I thought, I was like, who else does that? And then once I started engaging with you all, I'm like, Vogue Vignette does that. And they do it very well. And they may do it on a little bit of a more one-on-one and deeper level than I have to do. But it's a really special skill that you and your team have. And I don't think you realize how valuable that is. And I think
Thank you.
that really comes across in your artwork, because you really do give people the space to be themselves. And I think that's just amazing.
Thank you. That means the world to me. And I credit that to my mama.
And your grandmothers as well,
And
for
my
what you
grandma,
were
yeah,
saying.
my nana. Like they want people to feel seen and to like know that like you was important, girlfriend.
Yeah, you matter.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you and I were talking in the green room beforehand. So you do a range of different events. So I know you primarily from, nonprofit events, but I have also seen you at corporate events and fashion events and
Hmm.
private parties. So talk about how you and your team approach different types of events, and, what you may do for one type of event versus another type of event.
For sure. Yeah. I feel like the biggest thing that we have to do for ourselves is like mentally prepare for the people we are about to illustrate for. They're so different. Like the group of people that you're going to get at a wedding is going to be a little bit different from the people that you're going to get at a gala, a little bit different from the people that you're going to get at, a Neiman Marcus. So just recognizing like what space are you going into? Are we going into fashion retail? If we're going into Neiman Marcus, we're going to get a lot of individual ladies. So we're going to want to make sure that we are like we know how everybody is at all these different events. Like at weddings, we're going to get a lot of couples who are there. So recognizing like how we need to mentally prepare for like if we're, again at Neiman Marcus, then we're there, everybody there is coming dressed to impress. So making sure that we see them, that we know like I want people to feel good when they like come to our table and leave our space, like making sure like you let them know that those shoes that they're wearing are fire. Like you let them know that like I don't know, just like kind of coming in with a different but still the same attitude of like we're no matter what event we're going into, our goal is to make sure that people feel seen, that they feel excited about what they're about to receive. Um, but really like just kind of managing and changing not the personality that we're putting out, but like, if I'm at a fancy gala, then, you know, I don't know. That's a really hard question
You
because I
know,
feel like mentally it's like preparing them, but at the same time, like we want to still provide the same experience no matter what the event is.
well, and there was kind of an undercurrent to what you were saying to all that. And it's you really, regardless of it, you have a through line, even though you can approach events differently. There's the through line of you want people to be seen as the best version of themselves.
Yeah, like no matter if they're like a little 6-year-old who's having her birthday party, which I've definitely illustrated some little kid birthdays. My best friend's little daughter turned 4 last year, and that was my gift to her. I illustrated her
Oh,
birthday, and everybody had a little face painting. So like for me, recognizing like, okay, I'm still coming in as the same Stephanie, but like I have a younger audience that I'm like entertaining and making feel seen. So it's really taking like, if I'm at a very fancy gala where we have the president of UT there, then I'm still gonna be playful, but I'm also gonna like, not talk to him like he's a child, like a 5-year-old. So really just taking, the person that I am or the artists are and just really thinking about who's there and like make sure that we're just like staying in that mindset. Make sure that the clothes that we're wearing are appropriate to the event. Like if we're at a gala, like dress yourself up, girl. If we are at a kid's birthday party, like still dress yourself up, but like for, little kids who are going to want to see like bright colors. So I think that's one of the big things too, is like the attire. And, I think oftentimes I get stuck in a uniform that I wear because it can be difficult to change your outfit every single event that you're doing. But like really like, knowing the space that you're in, knowing the people that you're surrounded by and like, not necessarily be a chameleon, but know how to adapt and to like be in those spaces and like feel comfortable being in them and like not being intimidated, but just recognizing we are here. Like we're excited about our interaction with you. And like, I don't know if that answered the question at all,
Let's roll.
but
No, it does. And there's one follow-up I actually do want to do with that. And you had mentioned at the beginning of that about weddings will have couples. So talk a little bit about, because I have plenty of some with my husband and I have plenty of some with me just standalone. So talk a little bit about, because I think people are thinking, oh, is it just me, or can you do multiple groups? So talk a little bit about the difference of how you approach sketching, say an individual versus a couple or even like a small group.
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it definitely like experience still the same. Like I know for me, I'd love to like if it's a couple and they're posing for me, I want to know about like, so how did y'all meet? Like, give them an opportunity to talk and feel like, oh, I'm having an experience. I'm engaging with this artist who is creating this piece of artwork for me. Like, it only enhances the artwork because they're getting to take that conversation and know, like, I want to know about who you are. Like, tell me about y'all's relationship. How did you meet? You know, if it's a wedding, how did y'all meet the couple? Like, it gives them an opportunity to share their story and you know, gives them a chance to reminisce on like, how did we meet this couple? And like, they're always funny stories that they share. I think that's one of the biggest things is like, especially when there are two of them together. Like the guy sometimes is always going to feel a little uncomfortable. Not every guy. Some of them are like ready to pose and ready to go. But some of them are like, I don't know if I want to stand here. So really like making people feel comfortable and like giving them an opportunity to speak and to share their story and to like, you know, did you dress him? Did he dress himself? Like those shoes are like really like engaging in a way that's a little bit more personable. So they don't just feel like they're standing there together, like being stared at by an artist, because that can be really
No,
intimidating.
I hear what you're saying, and I've also seen instances where some people, yeah, and I've had this happen. I think on one instance, I can't remember if it was you or someone else on your team, where you all took a photo of me just because I had to be at like three places at once, so that you
Yes.
had. But you had already known, it was one of those you've sketched me before, you all had sketched me before, so you kind of knew who I was and kind of what my
Hmm.
essence was. So there are multiple ways that people can do that. So even if someone is shy or
For
is, let's
sure.
just say wiggly, for lack of a better term,
Yeah.
and wants to move around, there are ways that you can, still, talk to the person briefly and capture their essence so that they don't necessarily have to sit there the whole time if they don't want
For
to.
sure. Yeah, and that's something that we've been doing, you know, for a while. I personally lean into like I want the experience, like that's really what I set out to, but also recognizing that, you know, with different types of events, like a photo is just going to be the easiest thing so that guest can, you know, either move around the retail space and like talk to the sales associate or network with the people who are there or engage in some of the other activations. So we definitely like to give the option of like, which one do you prefer? Either way, people are receiving something that is personalized, it's one of a kind for them. And, you know, we're still putting the same heart and the same spirit into the illustration, whether you're standing there or whether I'm looking at you from my phone. And it's been so lovely. I've met so many people. Half the time they're like, "You sketched me forever ago." I'm like, "What were you wearing?" Like, I think I can remember your outfit, but your face, I'm not 100% sure about because I've seen thousands of people.
But that honesty and that earnestness is really, I think that's why you're so effective at what you do. So I do have a question kind of about people that you do sketch. But before that, I want to, because you were talking about experiences earlier, and I want to talk about how do experiential activations, such as what you offer with Vogue Vignette, how does that help elevate the overall events that you're at?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with the different types of events that we do, like with fashion retail, what we're doing is like we're providing a gift for people. We're prolonging their experience in the shop so that they're able to like spend time shopping. With galas or nonprofit galas, like we are, you know, people at those events, they are coming to give. Like they are ready to support the organization that they are, you know, being invited there to support. And what we do at those events in particular is we provide a gift. Like we give them the opportunity to receive. And I think in doing that and providing that, like they're able to have this experience, they're able to like receive something. And in doing that, it encourages people to like give more. I think that's one of the best ways that we serve at galas and nonprofit events really specifically is like, you know, we're providing incentive for people to give. Like some of the events that we work with galas are a little bit different. Some of the events it's like you donate in order to receive an illustration. Others it's a little bit more open to guests because everybody, you know, at that point has already given even just to be there. So we really are like giving back to the people who are giving to the organization. And I think there's something that's very powerful about that. We offer some of the packages that we offer are include branding on the paper that we're illustrating. So by doing that, we're giving people not just an amazing illustration, but we're giving that foundation the opportunity to like create brand recognition on this artwork so that people are able to see like, I got that amazing illustration of me at this event that I went to support. And it just reminds them of like, I want to continue supporting this organization. I want to continue doing good for them. They provided this amazing gift for me when they didn't necessarily have to. And it makes them more grateful to the organization that they're supporting because they are able to have a takeaway, something that's like really special to them. And I think that's, for me, for us attending galas and these nonprofit events, like that's such a huge part of it is like, I want to know that we are there to help support their mission. Because at the end of the day, like, it's not necessarily just about us. Like we are there to support the organization and their fundraising efforts. And so that, I don't know if that.
Yeah,
I just
that's absolutely well. And here's the deal. It actually leads perfectly into my next question that I had. And that is, are there any instances where a nonprofit has like told you after the fact, or because I know you do some events year after year, have any of them ever shared an instance of how, your art, the artwork of your team has helped either maintain or recruit new donors to a nonprofit, so that they're giving either at a larger level or they're new entirely to the organization?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, our clients are amazing about offering feedback on like they keep coming back year after year after year. One, to support the organization, but two, because they're excited about the Vogue Vignette that they're going to get. Like every year, sometimes the artist will change. And so it's like a new, I'm going to get a new illustration. And it's like a fun thing that people look forward to at these events, and it keeps them like coming back. It keeps them talking to their friends about like, one, you have to support this amazing organization. Two, there's the coolest activation that's there, and like you have to be here to get it. Like you have to donate, you have to support in order to be here, or in order to receive one. So those instances are exciting. The fact that our clients are like, yeah, it's like it's raising money, it's exciting people, and it's keeping them coming back year after year after year for more. It's been humbling and exciting to see that, like, we're not just there to do a really cool sketch, but like we really are there to like bring your people in and to encourage them and excite them to continue to like build like buy-in. Like we want them to like feel like I'm committed to this is my organization. I'm committed to this organization. This organization is committed to me. And, Vogue Vignette is one of the ways that they can show people that.
Absolutely. And I've seen that, I've seen people talk about that with me, especially when we post it on social media. That's like the one where, a lot of times we'll just get comments, but whenever we post anything of yours, we get direct messages of, all right, tell me more about this. So, that's absolutely true. And, we've been talking a little bit about people here. So tell us the profile of a great party guest that you and your team sketch.
Okay, I got this one. So you and Lance, let's start there.
You're too kind.
Well, we love to sketch the person that is just like, they know who they are and they show up to the table and they're like, this is my outfit. It represents me. And they just like strike that pose. Like they're ready for their moment. Like they like are ready with their outfit. Like they have the full accessories. They're just like, they're aware of what they're about to walk into and they are ready for it. Like that person is the one that I love sketching. The one who just walks up and is like, I'm like, okay, strike a pose. And they do it. They're just ready. They're like, I'm ready for my moment. I've been waiting for this moment. Like, let's go. And I'm like, yes. That person is the person that I'd love to sketch. Like they're so fun and they come with their own style. And I think, definitely the person that like takes style seriously because it's just a part of who they are and like shows up with their like, perfectly curated outfit. Like I love sketching those people because it's just easier to like, oh, I know who you are. like you're showing me who you are and you're giving me the chance to make this job really easy. I love those people. I mean, I love the shy people too, because they'll still have their own style, but they need someone to just show it to them and be like, oh yeah, that's who I like. You saw me and you got me. But I really love the person who's just like, here I
Let's get it
am.
done. But but there's something about, style. And there's a reason I think that and I said this at the top of the show, that people like Lance and myself keep coming back to get sketches from you and your team, is I'm very able to see different aspects of my personality every single time you sketch. And I think a person with good style, because they've got accessories, I know you as an artist are like, I've sketched this person 3 times before, but I never noticed that they wore X every time or Y every time, and you
Hmm.
learn a little bit more about them. So it's almost, I can see that you are learning more about me as a subject each time you sketch, because you're getting some small different nuance and aspect of my personality. I think that's
For
just
sure.
really cool.
Thank you. And I love sketching. I love that you'll have a little collection.
Oh, it's nice to have, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's like 5 in this room. So
Oh my God.
a quick count. So now tell us about the most unique guest you have ever sketched. You don't need to give names, but just a
Okay.
very unique person that you have sketched. And it could be nonprofit, it can be for profit, it can be fashion, whatever it is.
I will not name names, but I did sketch the founder of Paul Mitchell. So,
Oh, John Paul, he's
okay, I'm
great.
gonna give names. That's Jean Paul DeJoria. Um, he was so exciting to illustrate, and like I hadn't seen his face in a long time, and he walked in, and I was like, I think that's who I think it is, and I'm trying to be real cool about it. Like, so tell me about yourself, like kind of how you do. It was
Mhm.
definitely a smaller fundraiser at a local boutique. And so everybody like sat down and I illustrated them from that. So to be able to like have a one-on-one conversation with him and for him to be able to see the artwork happening in real time was just, it was so exciting. I feel like half the time I'm not like, I don't know how to play it cool. Um, and I don't think I did. I don't think I did.
But
I
John Paul,
don't.
I have the good fortune of, I've met him many, many times over the years, and he's just such a nice, sweet person that, you feel like you're his friend, even if you've only been around him for 4 seconds. And that's a rare
Yes.
gift.
Yeah, I agree. Like he just had a really easygoing, welcoming personality. And it was just for me as a business owner, it was like it shifted my mindset of like, you are doing some big badass stuff. And I see the way that you are being, and I want to aspire to that.
And
I
I think
want
that
to have that level of like confidence, but also knowing that like the things that I'm doing are not only creating a strong business, but are impacting people in a really positive way. And I feel like for me, that was such a meaningful meeting and experience because he just is, he's just a badass.
he is, and he's also an ideal guest. And it was kind of fun when you were explaining kind of who the ideal guest is. And John Paul is very much this, is that whenever he's at something, he's present. Like he's not distracted
Hmm.
about the 75 other things that are going around. And
Yeah.
the ones who are the great guests who are striking a pose on the right, they know where they are and they're in that moment.
Yes, I love that. And I aspire for that in myself when I'm illustrating people and like to have that, to be able to receive that energy as well from someone else is just, it makes my day. I'm like, you're making this job easier for me because then we can like truly, even if it's just a very brief interaction, like we can still have like a brief connection and know that like a beautiful exchange of energy is taking place. I hope that you leave this feeling better about you and the state of this world through
All
through
the
this
things. We
7
won't
minute
solve those
sketch.
problems on this podcast, but definitely feeling inspired is one thing we want you to be. So I know we're coming up on time, but I do have one final question for you. And I
Yeah.
always ask this of all of my guests, and that is, what is one thing all successful events have in common?
Oh man. Amazing people, but being like a vendor on the vendor side of it, it is having an amazing coordinator or nonprofit staff who is putting that event on. Like they're the ones who are able to keep things running smoothly. They're able to make sure that their guests are know where to go, know what kind of experience they're about to have. Like those people are, and that's because we have so much like interaction with them, like leading up to the event, they are the ones who make sure that that event is going to like be so smooth, and we're so grateful and appreciative of them because they set us up for success. And in doing that, we're able to provide the best experience for their donors and their patrons. Like they really are, for Vogue Vignette, they are the kings and queens of those events because they are the behind the scenes people who don't get enough credit for the work that is being done and the money that is being raised. Like they are the backbone of those organizations, and they are, if they're unified and if they're like present at those events, then the event is going to be a huge success. Like they really know what they're doing, and we're grateful and trust the work that they do and are glad that they trust us to deliver an amazing experience for their guests.
Well, I would say mic drop, but I'm going to say pencil drop in honor of sketching, or marker drop, because I know you sketch with markers in front of me quite a bit. So we're going to say that that was a marker drop moment, is what we're going to say, because
Thank you.
you
That's
have
perfect.
certainly made your mark on the philanthropic scene, not just here in Austin, but throughout Texas and beyond Texas. And I know that you have a Kentucky Derby experience that you have just, you have just done. So you have so many good things going on, and I can't think of anyone better for this success and a better person to helm it than you. So Stephanie, thank you so much for taking the time
Thank
today.
you so much. I really do appreciate it. This was wonderful. Thank you, Rob.
Absolutely. And for more information about Stephanie Schiller and Vogue Vignette, please visit voguevignette.com. And that will do it for this episode of Fun and Fundraising. I'm your host, Rob Giardinelli, reminding you to keep it fun, keep it interesting, and your guests will have a great time. Have a great day, everyone, and take care.